Hello, this is Elizabeth Clare Brewington with Generation Ministries Worldwide, a video podcast for Jesus. And all you Jesus lovers and all of you that are interested in learning about Jesus, then this channel is for you. And today we want to talk to our churches. We want to talk to our Christian event organizers that are putting conventions together. Since the pandemic, a lot of us have changed. We're not the same anymore. And there is a war going on in Israel. And whether you know about it, there are people back there that are suffering. There are little Miriams all over the state of Israel that have either seen their families blow up, looking for families, torn victims, just upset with what's going on. There's a lot of politics that shouldn't be around. And here is this wonderful couple, Carol and Larry, that are going to take you back to Israel when it all started in a beautiful story about this beautiful woman, Miriam. And so here I have in the studio with me two wonderful Christian speakers and authors. So welcome, Carol and Larry, to my studio. And tell me about this wonderful book that you have written and how it's going to help our churches today.
Well, God gave us this story to write about a young Jewish girl, the name of Miriam, who lived in the first century Israel. She was the daughter of a Jewish scribe. And Mary experiences a terrible tragedy in her young life. She and her family later meet Jesus at the wedding in Cana, and she becomes one of the followers with other women that follow the disciples and Jesus around. He cooks for them and does their laundry for them. And it's her story it's really a wonderful adventure of love overcoming loss and enduring faith, conquering doubt and unbelief.
And that's what we need to teach our children today in getting that faith back, in getting that belief back, in getting that strength back. And so, Carol, tell me how this book is really going to help the Christian and the churches and the conventions that are coming up.
Yes, it's interesting because when we were inspired to write the book, we were not even living in the way our culture is today. That is, the inspiration for this came 20 years ago. The original manuscript was written 20 years ago, but we were rejected by publishers. And the reason we were rejected by publishers, the reason one of our publishers gave, I've got it in writing, is the book was too biblically accurate. Too biblically accurate that people who maybe were not familiar with the book would become confused by the story. And we took that as a compliment. To be biblically accurate is exactly what we were after. But the point is that it took until, it says in Esther, until such a time as this, to have the book itself be appropriate for our times. And what we believe that this book conveys is hope for people, is an understanding of ancient Israel in order to understand modern day Israel and the Middle East and the different conflicts that have arisen. The thing that we are particularly excited about is what Larry did, all of the research, and I did the writing. And Larry painstakingly researched the culture, the history, the foods, the homes, everything the dress, everything that the politics. And then also the biblical research to make sure that we were aligned with Scripture and that we weren't embellishing Scripture in a way that was heretical. And so it was interesting because that first rejection caused us to think about, well, what are some of the things that we need to add to the book, even to help people be able to understand, okay, what part of this is fiction, what part is real and historical. So there are literally 135 notes in the back that people access throughout the chapters that give the scriptural references, that give historical background, that tell, for example, about the Jewish feasts that are discussed in the story, that tell about who are the Sanhedrin, who are the Pharisees and the Sadducees. So some of those things that people may have a little bit of idea about, but not a full picture. So those notes just enhance the educational aspect of the story. People can read this book in a lot of different ways. They can read it as an interesting, plot twisting story that they enjoy, or they can dig deeper and learn more about the culture and of that time, or they can dig deeper and learn about the biblical aspects. And the other thing that we did in the also as a resource in the back was to list all of the characters and who they are in the story, but to code those characters in a way that people know, is this strictly a fictional character, or is it a character that's named in the Bible, or a character who's in the Bible for whom we gave a fictional name? So people can sort that out if they're interested, or they feel like that's important for them to know. So that, I guess I'm saying that initial rejection and the reason they gave just fueled the fire for making the book even more credible, better researched. And so the revisions then contributed all of this extra information for people to glean from the story.
Well, the fact that it's so factual helps you to really understand the Bible even more, and especially if you're doing a Bible study group or you're doing a workshop, then this would be perfect, for women conferences, and as you put it, not just for women but for men too, to learn about women. And so my husband and I always talk about this, men respecting women, especially in this day and age. So men, this is just as important for you to read as it is for women as well. So thank you so much. Would you like to add anything before I close?
I think that originally we thought the audience would be women,
Mm-hmm.
and yet men of all ages have given us some of the best feedback and the best reviews on Amazon that we've gotten. And then we began to talk to teenagers as well. We have families who are using the book in their homeschool environment. They're using it as a piece of literature to read. We have on our website a free downloadable study guide. And so there are questions for each chapter. So parents are using those questions along with the reading of the book with their kids. And we're aware of, I'm trying to think the age range of the homeschoolers that have used it, something like 10 to 15 years old have been able to use the book in that way. The other thing that I think is a very good use of the book, we know that it's very biblically and Christian oriented, but we also know from feedback that it speaks loudly to non-Christians in a way that is not offensive or too hard-powered. And because of that, I have thought that it would be a very good book to use in a discipleship class, maybe for brand new Christians or even people who are seeking knowledge of what it means to be a Christian.
I think the biggest compliment we've had is people say that this reminds me so much of The Chosen. And we take that as a very, very high compliment.
Yes.
Another
It does remind you of The Chosen. So yes, and it's so well written. What is so amazing is how they've got these little fishes as dividers, and they have devoted a whole page to giving you scripture passages to go along with the times. And I think it is really a very well written book. I really want to see this made into a movie or a play, because it's so descriptive, and the style of writing and the history, and it's just a wonderful book. And I think it also makes a wonderful gift if you know someone that you'd like to gift it to for a birthday or for an anniversary, or it's a great first lady book or for a deaconess. And so ordinations, I think this is a really wonderful book. And so thank you. We're so honored that you chose our channel to talk about this book. And Carol, and I must read your full name, Carol Amen and Lawrence Kemp McGee are available to speak at your next church convention event. They're great workshop leaders, as they said on their website. They have questions to go along with the book. And if you are a playwright and want to adapt this as a play, this would make a wonderful play, I think. So get in touch with them. Their website is mcgeebooks.com. And just get in touch, write them a message, and you can book them. What is the best way besides, so I guess the website is the best way to get in touch with you?
Actually, straight through Gmail as well. Yep. I'm happy to receive personal messages through email, mcgeebooks@gmail.com. Okay. And again, notice the spelling of McGee. Mm-hmm. It is strange. MCGEHE books.com and mcgeebooks@gmail.com.
And there you have it. So book them today. Go get the book. It's available at Amazon and where most books are sold. And get it for your church or your next Bible study or your convention. They would make great keynote speakers, workshop leaders, and you are watching Generation Ministries Worldwide. Thank you for watching, and write us a comment, and don't forget to subscribe.